Welcome to Real Estate and Taxes with Lakshay. I will be helping you minimize your taxes. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining in on my Tuesday session on real estate and taxes. Today, we want to talk about what's MLI Select and why is it turning heads. CMHC MLI Select is actually just a program that helps builders and investors buy multi-residential apartments, buildings, and construct them. The program encourages people to construct more affordable, more accessible, and highly energy efficient housing. And because of this, you'll be able to take advantage of more favorable loan financing conditions, lower interest rates, and much more. So typically, whenever you have to construct a commercial property, you need some sort of a down payment. It could be 35%, 20%, 25%. It really depends on your risk profile. With the CMHC MLI Select program, you will be able to do it as low as 5% down payment. For a new construction program, you can get up to a maximum of 75% loan to value. But if you meet certain conditions, you can go as high as 95% loan to value, which means you can get $95 to construct on a $100 project. For resale and existing property, you can go again up to 95%, but you must meet the residential rental holdback conditions. In order to qualify for this program, you need 4 primary conditions that you need to look after. Your net worth must be minimum 25% of the overall project. Number 2 is you must be building at least 5 or more units in order to take advantage of this program. Number 3 is property type. You must be building properties for social welfare, right? You must be actually part of the supportive housing community, the retirement homes, or even rental properties that are being given out at less than the fair market value for rent. Last but not the least is the non-residential space must not exceed more than 30% of the gross square footage. Now, in order to get the maximum value from CMHC MLI Select program, you're graded on 3 conditions: affordability, accessibility, as well as home energy efficiency. As the name suggests, affordability just means that how many units are being rented at less than fair market value. And how long will they be affordable? 10 years, 20 years, or 40 years? The second one is energy efficiency. Now, CMHC MLI Select has created a program for energy efficiency. The more points you get, the better your financing conditions become. Last but not the least is how many of the units are accessible without any barriers. And that is basically also incorporated in this, grading system to give you the best loan to value. In essence, the more points you get, the better your financing conditions will become. So in essence, what we're trying to do with the 3 previous points about accessibility, affordability, and energy efficiency is that most of these will be graded. So the more points you get out of 100, the better your debt to service ratio will be, the better your loan to value will be. Most of the time, people get only up to 75% loan to value, but in this scenario, the government is willing to give you up until 95% on new builds. You also get a longer amortization period, meaning your positive cash flow on a monthly basis is a lot better, and your lower insurance premium will be a lot lower as well. Now let's look at an example. You have a builder who wants to build 60 unit rental apartment. 30% of the units will be at 20% below market rent for 20 years. The building type will be 25% more energy efficient. 15% of the units will be fully accessible. So how would they score? Well, according to me, they would score pretty high, and let's see what their grading will be. Based on the grading, affordability wise, they're getting 40 points. Energy efficiency wise, they're getting 30 points. Accessibility wise, they're getting 15 points. Their total score is 85 points, meaning it's a very good project and very well planned project, meaning CMHC MLI Select should not have any problem funding up to 95% value. So overall, for this project, the builder would be able to take advantage of smaller down payments, lower debt to service coverage ratio, longer amortization, meaning better cash flow on a month-to-month basis, and lower insurance premiums. This will basically save him upfront cost, and overall the whole project becomes more lucrative to actually build and deliver on in timely basis. So a lot of you must be asking, what is the summary of steps that I need to take in order to get started with this program? Well, here's the summary. Number 1 is define your project scope. Second is contact the CMHC approved lenders. Then estimate your MLI Select score. There's actually a website where you can actually put in numbers to get an MLI Select score and see how your financing can be and how can you improve it. Then you have to gather project financials and documents, followed by submitting an application via lender, followed by closing the financing. And make sure that even after the funding is done, you need to stay compliant on commitments regarding to your lower rent, your affordability, as well as energy efficiency and accessibility. Otherwise, they can pull the rug at any time. Now, most people ask me, why should I focus on an Edmonton, Alberta, or like Calgary type of project rather than a Toronto project? Well, it's because of cash flow. In Toronto, one bedroom would be rented at $2,400, whereas in Edmonton, the rent is $1,300. If you were to do the math where the program says you have to offer 20% less than market value for rent, your negative cash flow on a Toronto-based project is a lot more than an Edmonton-based project. In Edmonton, your basically cost of build is a lot lower, so even if your rent is lower, it still leaves a decent margin just because the lower land and construction cost, longer amortization will definitely help you with the better cash flow in a longer run in Edmonton. And also in Toronto, there's lots of projects going on, so a lot of municipal red tape and timelines that delay the project. So from that perspective also, I would say Alberta, Edmonton is definitely a better place to do the CMHC MLI Select program rather than Toronto. So thank you very much for joining. We'll see you next week with brand new session. But in continuation to CMHC MLI Select, we'll also be sharing some projects that you can actually invest in. So stay tuned for that too. Thank you.